room with the people who live in there. Let's get together and roll up our sleeves and wear some shorts and some long socks on a Saturday, get the work done. And you know what? I think that for stuff like this, that's probably the best solution. So I appreciate that.
First of all, I love the median. It reminds me of where my grandparents lived in Long Beach. There was a median, and every Christmas the city would come out and put decorations. So it really is very beautiful the way it is right now. But our entire city needs some landscape improvement in a big way. We need a pressure washer. Our streets and our sidewalks are filthy. Our landscaping is seriously mediocre. I'm sorry, I don't see Richard here, but we can certainly get together with our tree board and with our landscapers, and we have to do an entire city project. We need a plan for the landscaping. We need to clean up our little city, and we all are going to have to help in that process. Thank you.
Thank you. This is question 4, starting with Richard. And this is going to be a set of questions around the beach pool and the complex. I know it's a hot issue, and so we've got a few questions on that topic. 1 minute each, and we'll come around. The first question is, what is your vision for the casino building, complex, and pool?
You've heard me say this before. I had my brothers that blow it all up and start all over again. We can't do that. We don't have the money to do that. We certainly need to rip out the pool and the building and replace it there. We certainly need to repair the casino building and not use it as an office for the lifeguards and storage for the rest of the beach complex. We need to, as we rebuild the pool area and the new clubhouse, move everybody into that. I envision a world-class aquatic center up there. It's the perfect location for it. It's been there, and it's not a matter of history or wanting it there. It's the right spot for it. I don't know of any place in the middle of town where it can go. I heard people talk about the ball fields and up in the northwest corner of the 12 acres there. That's further away than the beach from anyone. At least there's a bus now that'll be going to the beach to be able to drop people off once we build that. Once we build the bus stop up there, which we're required to do with our contract in the county for the $5 million that we gave them. There's a finance thing that goes along with the pool. I guess I'll explain it on the next go-around, my next minute.
This is honestly like worth, we have issues, whether it's partly cloudy or partly sunny. So the pool is paramount. The casino building is underperforming. We don't have a real estate contract agent to market 5,000 square feet that's being used for storage. The pool is an embarrassment to me, and we can build a family-friendly pool that's going to attract neighborhoods to come and realize that we have a park on the ocean. We need to start recognizing that property as a park. We need to be proud of it. It's the perfect spot to use the penny sales tax. I'm looking forward to an agenda item on the 19th for committing a certain amount to the casino park improvements. It's taken way too long to even talk about it. Looking forward to it.
Commissioner Robinson has often said that if we're not careful with the penny sales tax money, we're going to look up and we're going to see that we've spent all that money and we won't know what it is that we have to show for it, right? And so I think that the beach, the casino complex is exactly a perfect candidate for penny sales tax money. The question was, what is my vision for that? I envision 3 things. First of all, I envision a pool at that facility. And when I say a pool, I mean an aquatics facility, something with a range of users. Right? Because that's what the most successful aquatic facility have. They have something for kids, they have something for families, they have something for people who want to do water aerobics, they have something for people who want to swim laps, and we are able to do that. The next thing, I frankly would like to close off the vehicular traffic to the front of the casino building because it really mars the experience there. And in order to do that, what you have to do is improve the loading area. Right now, you could be having lunch at Mulligan's or at Mamma Mia's, and you could be sitting out front and there'll be a big Pepsi truck blocking your view of the ocean. That's because the casino building was poorly designed and we cheaped out on it. So we have to do those 3 things. We have to get an aquatic facility back there. We have to close off the vehicular traffic. And in addition to that, we have to improve the loading area and rent the 5,000 square feet above the Mulligan's. Thank you.
I have heard a lot of visions for that casino project. I've heard about Ferris wheels, and I can can picture it. It would be fun. I have heard about extra dining places and kiosks and 3 different types of pools. I just can't picture Lake Worth pulling that off. I just can't picture us spending the millions and millions of dollars to do that. One of the things that the Planning and Zoning Board is anytime I ask about a park, anytime I ask about a playground, anytime I wanted to put anything into it, everyone said we need to have a park study done before we can make any commitments. I think that we need to have a park study done. I think our Parks and Recreation Advisory Board should be in charge of that. I think we do need to do something with a big old hole that's sitting there because nothing says blight like a pool that's been closed for 2 years. I don't think that we should do, I think we need to do this in phases. If we do decide to do a pool, and it needs to be first simple as possible, and then we can move on and build from there. Thank you.
So this is the question I've been waiting for. Visioning for the pool. You know, somebody told me when I first decided to run, and it was kind of when I was exploring and thinking about it, somebody very wise here in Lake Worth told me, Tom, you have to understand the history of this city so you don't make the same mistakes of the past. And that is exactly what I'm doing with what I'm going to propose here tonight. I am not going to make the same mistakes of the past as your District 4 Commissioner. The pool has had 50 years to support itself, to be able to stay open, to draw in the kind of demand that it needs to. And you know what? Consumer preferences and tastes have changed. If we want to talk about visioning for the entire 19-acre complex, then we have to start by getting past this conversation of a pool. We've got to get past it. And I'm proud to say that I'm one of the only commissioners so far, well, candidates that says that I'm not willing to spend another dollar on pools. So here's my vision. Take out the road, open up some green space up there, create a nice walkable, mobile promenade. We do need to address parking along the beach as well. And I want to open it up, but more importantly, I want to bring all of you into that visioning process. Thank you.
Before we start our next question, I just want to remind the candidates we have glasses of water if you get thirsty. All right, our next question is going to go to Herman, and it is continuing with the pool. You've talked about it a little bit, but how would you pay for your vision? And if you don't envision improvements on the complex, what would you spend your money on?
The vision of an improved casino park, including a pool. I mean, there's no doubt that teaching children to swim is a very important part of Lake Worth. It's history of Lake Worth. It's a tourist attraction that it's really foolish to put a pool in a neighborhood that's going to be further away, it was mentioned, than the pool itself. So I'm suggesting that we stop talking or minimize the talk and the word vision and get down to some hard decisions. The pool is important. The 5,000 square feet are important. I love the idea of the no traffic in front of the building. And mistakes are expensive. I'm not sure that I am taking full responsibility for what's there now, but I look forward to improving.
So the question was, how will we pay for this? We have a pot of money, it's called the penny sales tax money. I would use a portion, not all. I would use a portion of that money to pay for improvements to the casino park. That includes not only the pool, that includes the building itself, that includes the roadway in front of the building, that includes the loading area, which is currently a dumpster. I mean, you're greeted by a dumpster when you walk up to the casino building. The building was poorly designed, right? And, you know, from the very beginning. And so I think it's really important that if you get a pool and if we were to make these changes to the overall casino park, that we use a portion of the penny sales tax funds to do that. It's really our only option. You can't say that you support a pool, but that you don't support using penny sales tax money for the pool. You can't say that you want to improve the casino, but that you don't want to use penny sales tax money for the casino, because what other money is there for this purpose? If we're going to solve the problem, we have to use the money that we have. It's exactly why we have the money. Let's go ahead and do it. And by the way, 800 residents signed a petition saying reopen the pool. I understand that this is a representative democracy. As I teach my kids, the meaning of that word means people power. Let's do what it is that the people have asked us to do, and that's change that facility for the better. Thank you.
So we do need to take care of the casino complex. complex. We do have a pool that's been boarded up for 2 years, and that needs to be taken care of. Whatever the decision is, we will have to use our penny sales tax for that. I would like to see us set aside $3 million, $5 million. Let's come up with something within our budget that we can actually do, and let's do it in stages. And I have to say, this whole thing about children and learning to swim, that's not not having a pool in Lakewood is not an excuse for not teaching your children to swim. I also find it really disrespectful to think that the children in my neighborhood, who are all coming from very poor neighborhoods, are going to have to go to the pool and pay $3 an hour to swim in the pool. I think we can do better than that. So I don't have a total answer on this. I really don't, because there's so many options out there. But I think that putting more money into a huge complex is not in our best interest. Thank you.
All right, let's address a few things. So, Commissioner Robinson has stated last week that he's looking forward to spending $10 million on the pool at the casino complex. $10 million. We have spent $3.5 million, I've estimated, on resurfacing and redoing some fixes at the pool back in 2008. Between 2008 and 2017, when it closed again for the second time, $3.5 million in fixes, resurfacing, and operational costs. That, to me, is the history. It's time to move on. We don't have money to rebuild this complex, but here's what we do have money to do. We do have penny sales tax money to build a community center in and around the ballparks as a possibility, or in District 4 here on the south end of the city that hasn't seen any money coming into its community in decades. A couple of other things. That petition for 800, I went through the petitions. I actually read it. We have less than half of them are actual residents. And lastly, Palm Beach County is already spending $6 million in penny sales tax money to build with YMCA and a public-private partnership a $6 million pool 7 miles away. Thank you.
And we talk about the pool not being close enough for the residents to get, but 7 miles away is a good place to have it, right? It should be in town. There's a way to fix this and make it viable. There's a way to fix it and make it viable. We always hear about $3 an hour, 2 hour minimum to park. We can't offer anything to the residents of our city that we don't offer to the county. That's the contract that we have with the county based on the $5 million that we borrowed from them to build this thing. So we go and we use that contract to our favor. You buy an annual membership to the pool, you qualify for a parking pass that allows you to park anywhere in the lot for the same $40 plus tax that we pay for a residence sticker. And then call the county and say, hey, in accordance with our contract, we are now telling you that we're doing this and offering it to our residents. Please offer it to the residents of the county. You do two things. You get more draw, you have to open the pool longer, you need to build some more parking. And I agree, we spent $3, $4, $5 million on this and make it world class. It's going to be great. We can have an economic model that works it. It's as simple as that. It's not brain surgery. It's easy.
All right, we've got our last part to this three-part question. This issue, as we've been hearing and we've been talking about, has been spinning around for years. The city has spent thousands of dollars for studies, what to do at the beach. What would you do as commissioner to drive this issue to a final close?
This is really a question about our processes and our rules and procedures here on the dais, and it's something that I've kind of harped on because it's not really clear what it is that a commissioner must do to get an item on the agenda. For example, there are certain items that I know I have put on the agenda that has taken me months and months of begging staff, hey, can I put this on the agenda? In my opinion, that's not really appropriate. So the first thing I would do is I would clarify our rules and procedures to empower us as a legislative body. No elected representative of the people in this city should have to ask an unelected staff member, Mother, may I please put this on the agenda? That's the principle. The other thing I would do is, I would do what West Palm Beach does, okay? I would have a series of budgeting sessions and a series of charrettes to decide how the penny sales tax money in its totality gets spent over the next 8 years that we're going to get this money. That's very important. I have the displeasure of watching the gentleman who's running for mayor in West Palm Beach, Keith James, give a presentation at the National League of Cities in Charlotte about how the city of West Palm Beach had decided what to do with their money almost a year before they even knew they were getting it. And then they bonded it out and actually put that plan in action. I want to see us do that here. Thank you.
This issue's been spinning around for years, and the city has spent thousands of dollars on studies. What would you do as a commissioner to drive this issue to a final close?
First of all, we should have had a meeting on this. We should have had a budget on this penny sales tax years ago. If our current commissioners can't get a meeting and can't figure out a budget for this penny sales tax, which every other municipality in the area has done, then we need to replace them. As far as this particular project and what we need to do with this one and how I would drive it home is, again, I would ask for a park study. It's going to cost approximately $100,000. As long as it's tied to a project, we can use the penny sales tax for it. Not only will it tell us where do we need a pool, where would we need a pool, what should we do with it, but it will also talk about the other parks and where we need other recreational facilities throughout the city. So that's how I would handle that one. Thank you.
Well, Louis, you're right. We did do a study. It was about $67,000. It was a parking study, but it also took in, used the public charrette to kind of revision all of the casino complex as well as the pool. There's many iterations. There's about 7 different iterations, and they ranged in estimated costs from $20 million to $60 million. I don't know if it's difficult to get things on the agenda or not. I don't know. I hear that a lot. What I do know is that $20 million to start off with is an exorbitant amount of money coming from a fund that does already have a negative fund balance of $4.5 million as of the last cap for 2017. So I think that maybe it hasn't come up in 2 years because we've been asking the wrong question. The question we've been asking is, should we have a pool, should we not have a pool? We need to just get beyond that, and what we need to do is we need to elect me as your city commissioner for District 4, and I will go in there, and what we're going to do is we're going to start the conversation with no pool, and let's go from there, okay? That's what I would say. Thank you.
This issue's been spinning around for years, and the city has spent thousands of dollars for studies on what to do at the beach. What would you do as commissioner to drive this issue to a close?
Omari's right. You know, the city manager is now bringing suggested agendas to the meeting that they do at the end of the meeting. It should be the city commission that decides or asks each commissioner what should go on the agenda there. As far as the pool, the beach being a $4.5 million deficit, it is not. We have a loan out for $4.5 million that we borrowed from 3 of our enterprise funds. And with the raise now that we have in the dollar for parking, I'm sure I have the floor, that we have the dollar for parking, that gives us now a $437,000 profit or extra at the end with paying off the loans. And we're in good shape up there now currently with that. That's going to be for operating money. That's not a deficit, it's a debt. Not deficit, but a debt on the books. It's a debt on this side, and it's a reason. I'm sure I have the floor. The receivable on the other side to those funds that are taking that in. So it's really not the amount of money that is being told to you. We now have a profit annually of $437,000. That's the operating profit.
If we don't invest in ourselves, we shouldn't expect anybody else outside of Lakewood to invest. The charrette that we had to pay for was, and the response was exactly what the people spoke about all day long. I was there all day, and it was an accurate vision of what the community wanted. To spend another $100,000 on another study is not a wise choice of spending. We need a pool. We need to have at least 3 people vote for it. Right now, we've had a dysfunctional commission by not addressing the decision. It took me a long time to get to the February 7th conversation. So I hope that everybody running for office understands the difficulty of working in amongst people that have different opinions, but we have to compromise to move forward.
Next question, starting with Kathy. There are many empty stores downtown, and every empty store is a lost source of revenue for the city. How would you rectify this, and would you support higher taxes on long-term vacant stores?
We are in a tough situation. We've got one developer who owns 45 commercial properties. They get to set their own rents. I have looked into the vacancy taxes, and other communities have tried that. None of the landlords play games, right? So they take out a permit to fix a little something and it never gets fixed. Or they jack the rent up on another piece of property to cover the vacancy taxes on that one. Really the answer is taking care of the poverty problem that we currently have. It's bringing more people into the community. And it is about parking. My understanding is that there's a lot of businesses that have come and looked and said, no, we don't have the parking. So we need to address that issue as well. Thank you.
So when you walk into your businesses in downtown and you talk to them, you ask them, and I've done this. I've walked in, I've said, hey, do you have a parking problem down here? And they say, yeah, absolutely, we've had a parking problem for a long time. Now the parking problem isn't just that we don't have places to park, it's that it's confusing where those places to park are because we have no wayfinding. We have no parking program to fund the parking program as well. We have no metered parking. It's confusing on the side alleyways because they're dark, and also we have places that are reserved, not reserved, but public parking that residents park and then visitors don't. So my plan for the downtown corridor is going to be a parking and mobility plan, making sure that we do a parking garage, but it's wrapped inside of a parking plan. Also, I just want to point out that I don't know, to the second question about what we could do, I think that there's possibilities to do, but curious to hear from our other incumbents because we do have some incumbents up here who took money from those landlords, so curious to hear what they say about that. Thank you.
There's not much we can do about the people that are owning, and I don't think we're losing, the city's not losing any revenue from them because they're still paying their property taxes. You know, so they're still there.
Sales tax.
Well, we don't get part of the sales tax, penny sales tax, sure, that goes to the county, we get our portion of that, but the city's not losing revenue other than that, we're losing image. I mean, Michelle and I drove down Lake Avenue, there were 15 vacancies that she counted between Dixie and Federal. And I think it just has to come from pressure from the community. You have to walk into these folks and say, hey, what are you doing with this? I'm told they're writing off losses or writing these losses off against gains in other communities where they own properties, you know? And if that's the case, that's not being a good neighbor to us. So the same way that we just talk to anyone else about blight or their lawn being long or whatever may be going on, we have to talk to these folks and say, look, this is ugly. And I'll tell you, that same developer, if you looked a couple of months ago, we had the conversation on our meeting, right? The big sheets of paper that they had with a 4-year-old scrolling for rent on it, that was just flipping us off twice is what they were doing to the citizens of the city. Mark Stivers had them done on Lake Avenue. We had those all fixed. The following week, they were done. There's still some on Dixie Highway.
These people came to town, invested in our town, and are actually paying more taxes than the buildings that they owned, that the previous owner was paying. So I want to thank them for investing in Lake Worth and paying more taxes because they paid more than the appraised value of the existing property. The incentive side of it, rather than the thanking side of it, I'd be interested in offering utility incentives to empty stores in terms of water and sewer. Those are the things that we can control and encourage empty stores to be used. And I'm also interested in a pop-up possibilities for stores, not on long-term leases, but to appear in town and see what the market is. It would generate activity. The idea that people donate to campaigns, they must think that there's a reason for a good candidate to receive their money.
Here's the first thing that I'll say. It's not only that vacancy taxes have been found to be ineffective. In the state of Florida, vacancy taxes are illegal. Cities cannot levy taxes on a landowner or a property owner because he's not renting out his space. You have to go to the legislature and get special permission to do that. I've already investigated that with our city attorney. That's the process. It's not happening, period. Let's stop thinking about it. So that's number one. The next thing is, local government officials in particular love fretting over things they cannot control. We cannot tell a private property owner what rate he should charge for rent. But what we can do is own up for the fact that the environment in Lake Worth has not been conducive to businesses making money for a very long time. And here's the real thing. Our downtown, as high as the rents that the Peters charge, the fact is that they're still multiples lower okay? A fraction of the rents that you're gonna find in other downtowns in coastal Palm Beach County, and a fraction of what you'll find even on Dixie Highway in West Palm Beach. So the real question is, why does a business owner jump at $9,000 a month on Clematis, jump at $9,000 a month on Atlantic, jump at a significantly higher rent on Dixie Highway, but look at $2,500 a month in Lake Worth and say, I don't think I can do it. We have a demographics problem. We have to solve that problem with redevelopment. We've done a lot already on that. We should continue moving in that direction. Thank you.
Continuing on the downtown, this question starts with Tom. What would you propose to do to draw more visitors, local and out of town, to downtown and the city in general?
Well, that feeds right into the parking mobility plan. I want to get a little bit more into the mobility side of things since I've already talked about that. The mobility side of things is looking at making access into and out of our downtown a little bit easier, and also encouraging pedestrian and small vehicle traffic. So here's one of the ideas that I have that would fall right into the parking plan as well. And that is to use penny sales tax dollars. Again, this is feasible before anybody says it's not, because we've spent time talking to the city manager about this. We're using penny sales tax dollars to improve our alleyways that are going into and out of downtown as far north as 6th Avenue North or 6th Avenue South as well. That's entirely possible. We could put down a permeable surface that can still be pulled up to access our utilities, but also, not only that idea, but also looking at mobility as the way of the future for our downtown. Look, I'm not a city planner, okay? That's not what I do for a living. I do marketing and advertising. But I do know that if we put the emphasis on mobility inside of a comprehensive plan for our downtown, we are going to be attracting the sort of density and sort of developers that we need to come into our city. And we're also going to be encouraging the people that live here to work, play, and live in and around our downtown. Thanks.
One way to get people to invest in the city and come here is to get rid of the garbage that's out on Dixie and Federal Highways. That's probably the first thing that we need to do. You know, you can talk a good game, you can say we're going to do this, that, and the other thing, and build roads and do all of this stuff, but when people come and they drive, when the old Palm Beach, the old Ritz-Carlton, is sending guests to Dixie Highway because they can get a little action there, and then we catch that John and he goes to jail, that's what we have to clean up. That's our reputation, that the five-star hotels are sending people here to get hookers on Dixie Highway. So let's get rid of that first, and then let's talk about attracting new investment here. We can't do anything about vacant properties until we clean something like that up. So that's what I would do to attract business. I agree with Herman about incentives for utilities, but it should be on the electric as well, not just everything else. Deposits on electric are ridiculous. They're very high, and to have pop-ups like that, you'd be having to keep rolling those deposits, and it could take a bit of time to do that. So that's how I feel about that. Let's clean it up first, and then we can market the city.
You know, J Street is turning into a real mecca for music, and I would love to see 4 major events in Lake Worth. The Street Painting Festival is coming up, 100,000 people coming to town. A music festival. You know, we need to market our town with what we've got. It would be a tough market sell to come see our acts. We have an authentic downtown, and I want to make sure that everybody's safe, the streets are well lit, and people enjoy being able to come downtown and